everybody. I'm Brian Blazie. I'm going to do the introductions tonight. Welcome to the Blazie Technologies monthly webinar. Um, this month is a little bit different in that we do not have an update to talk about. So we're going to be doing a few demonstrations of some features in the editor and talk about some back to school issues and the things that should be of interest to educators. Welcome, and we'll have Q&A shortly. And with that, David.
Thanks so much, Brian. Hey, everybody. Hi, it's David Goldfield. Good to see everybody on the call. Some familiar names and some unfamiliar or, well, at least new to us, and that's always really nice. So, for those who are new or for those who have joined us before, thanks for choosing to hang out with us during tonight's Blazie Technologies webinar. One of the things before we do our demos that I want to start out with is talking about our newest, I was about to say newest product, but it's actually the newest products because there are two of them that have generated a lot of attention and questions and excitement, and that is the BT Braille. So many of you are familiar with BT Speak, which has the Perkins style Braille keyboard and speech output, and that's how you hear what's going on in the product. But a lot of people wanted more, and specifically they wanted Braille. So now we have a device that is similar to a BT Speak. It's got all of the features and the software and the capabilities of the BT Speak, but it has a Braille display, and not surprisingly, we call it the BT Braille. There are two versions of it. One of them is the 20 cell version, and the other one is the BT Braille 40. So we have one with 20 cells and one with 40 cells. They also have a Perkins style Braille keyboard for input, and they do have speech. The same speech voices and features that are in BT Speak are also going to be in BT Braille, but they do have that Braille display for reading and for editing. And I say editing because both devices have cursor routing. So you have the standard cursor routing buttons, you have the same ergonomic keyboard layout, but there are some other differences. First, it's actually faster. It's using a faster processor. So I believe it's at least 50% faster in performance than what we currently see with BT Speak. It has a bigger battery. It has an additional USB port. It has additional RAM. The BT Speak has 8 gigabytes of RAM, which is good, but the BT Braille has 16. It also has a terabyte of storage, so that's a huge amount of internal storage for your books and other documents, as well as software that you might want to install. It has a headphone jack, which the BT Speak doesn't have. It does still have, of course, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, so you can continue to use it with your Bluetooth speaker or headset, but it also has a standard headphone jack, which a lot of people wanted, and so that is available. So those are some of the differences. So that's why I don't say that it's just a BT Speak with a Braille display. It's tempting for me to say that, but it's really a lot of additional features that we don't have in the BT Speak, along with the Braille display. So those products are in development. We have actually shown them at both the ACB and NFB conventions. There were a lot of excitement generated from that, and we anticipate shipping both of those devices by early October. And if you want to pre-order, there's a limited amount of pre-order slots for what we call early adopters, right? So if you're an early adopter, that gives you some additional benefits that you might like. One of them is that you will be able to help us by giving us feedback regarding the product's development. You can give us comments about, hey, I really like this, or this is one way that you could improve it. And that feedback is essential for us making this product really, really good and solid, as solid as the BT Speak is now. If you pre-order with the early adopter program, you will get a fully functional BT Braille in a 3D printed case that we have. And it will work, everything will function, but it's just going to be a different case. It might have a slightly rougher feel. If some of you have seen early BT Speaks, you'll know what I mean. Eventually, of course, we will have a finished case, and those who want that we will be able to swap that out and get you that case at no cost to you if you want that. And we're assuming most people do. So that is the benefit of pre-ordering early. And if you want to pre-order, I should talk about the prices of these products and how much you would pay as a deposit for the pre-order. So the BT Braille 20 cell version is $44.95. That's $4,495. And the BT Braille 40, the total cost is $64.95. The benefit of pre-ordering is you only have to pay a certain portion of that in advance. So if you are paying for the BT Braille 20, if you're pre-ordering that, it is $2,000 now, and then before we ship it, you would pay the balance. The BT Braille 40, you would pay $3,000 down, and the balance when we're about to ship the BT Braille 40. So those are some of the benefits and advantages of being an early adopter with these two products, if that's what you decide you wish to do. If you want to be an early adopter, you would have to do that at least right now by phone. And the reason why we're not doing it on the website is because we only have a limited amount of early adopter slots available right now. So we don't want to overload everybody by, having tons of people pre-order and then disappointing people later. So if you're interested in pre-ordering, or if you have more questions, you'll have time to ask about that during the Q&A, or you can give us a call during the week, including tomorrow, at 772-214-1616. That's 772-214-1616, or you can email info at blazie.net. Info at blazie, BLAZIE.net. If you have any questions, and if you do decide to pre-order, we can take your pre-order by phone. If you want to know more about what these products do, especially if you're not super familiar with the BT Speak, because all of the software and features of the BT Speak are going to be in the BT Braille on day one. So if you go to our website, that is the best place to find out everything you ever wanted to know about the BT Speak at blazietech.com. That's BLAZIETECH.com. There are pages on the BT Speak and all the software that you get. And just know that everything you read about the BT Speak, except for the size, all of the capabilities and software are going to be in the BT Braille. And there's also a BT Braille page that will highlight everything that I've already mentioned if you want to go to our website, blazietech.com. Brian, did I forget anything?
If you're pre-ordering a BT Braille 20, then when you order it, it is $2,000 now, and the balance due when we're ready to ship. And the BT Braille 40 is $3,000 now, balance due when we're ready to ship. And the pre-orders at this time are domestic only.
Oh, yes, I did forget to mention that. Sorry about that.
That's kind of important. There is a very limited number, and there being that it is an early adopter program. There could be some back and forth on these units, and the international shipping and problems that arise with dealing with customs and the like make doing this internationally uh, not possible at this time.
Thanks. Yep, that is a very important point, that's for domestic orders only. But once the early adoption phase is over, then we'll be opening up orders for everyone, no matter what part of the country you happen to be in. Okay, so that's what we have to say about the BT Braille. And during Q&A, hopefully you'll have time. If you have questions, you can ask us, or as I said, you can email us at info@blazie.net. So now we're going to get into a demo of some features that you will be able to use either on BT Speak or BT Braille, because as I said initially, all of the capabilities that we have today on BT Speak, including the things that Tim Noonan and I are going to show you, are going to be in BT Braille on day one. So if you're wondering, well, I know the BT Speak has, fill in the blank, NFB Newsline. Will the BT Braille have it? Or I know the BT Speak can play radio stations. Can the BT Braille do that? The answer is yes. All BT Speak software and features are going to be in BT Braille the day we ship it. In fact, it's safe to say I think they're all in the pre-production BT Brailles that we've been testing, except for the differences that I've highlighted, like, the more memory, more storage, headphone jack, extra USB port, but all the capabilities are the same. So what I'm showing you, or what Tim and I are going to show you, we're using BT Speak devices. Oh, hold on, guys. Apologies, my headset came undone. So we're going to be showing you this on a BT Speak, but everything we're showing you is going to be on the BT Braille. So the theme of our demos has to do with going back to school, because no matter what part of the world you live in most places, school has either started or it's going to be starting pretty soon in September for a lot of kids and adults going back to college. So BT Speak and BT Braille have a lot of features that can make going back to school a lot easier, a lot nicer, and a lot more fun. So the thing I'm going to show you are features that you can use in the editor and in the file system for how you could write a book report. So I have a book that I downloaded from Bookshare. It's a science fiction novel called Eden Rebellion. Don't worry, we're not going to read the book tonight. But I have it in the BT Speak, and I have each chapter starting at a new heading, and that's important. We'll talk about why that is. And we're going to show about how you can jump across to different files and cut, copy, and paste. And then we're going to throw it over to Tim Noonan, who will show you some other related features that are connected with this. So I have my device on right now, and I have a few files open. Now, I have more than a few files in the device. You have room for a lot. I think I have, I don't know, about maybe 25, 30 files, but I only have a few open. So I need to find out first which file am I in, and I can do that by pressing WH chord, which is dots 1, 5, 6 chord. So I'll do that now.
At line 1, in welcome screen.empty.
Okay, it said line 1, and I'm in the welcome screen. For those who do not have a BT Speak, and of course, none of you yet have a BT Braille. The welcome screen is kind of an intro screen. It's not a manual, but it just welcomes you to the product, and it has links to other help files. So I'm in this welcome screen, but there are two files that I have open that are of interest to me tonight for the purposes of this demo. One of them is a file that I created called report, which I'm going to use to write my book report. The other file that I have is the actual book called Eden Rebellion. So let's see what I have. I don't want to be in the welcome screen, so I can jump to the different open files that I have with J-Cord. So I'll press J-Cord.
File number?
It's asking for a file number, so I could enter a file number from 1 through 0 to go to the first 10 files. I could enter A through Z to go to the first 26 files, but I'm going to press the space bar just to open the next file.
Class notes. File 3 of 4.
I have a file called class notes. I don't actually need to be in that file. I'm going to close it by going into the editor menu by pressing E-cord and then C.
Viewing welcome screen. File 2 of 3.
Okay, I'm in the welcome screen. It said file 2 of 3. And again, that doesn't mean I have 3 files in here. It just means I have 3 files open. I'm going to hit J-Cord
File number
and then space to go to the next file.
Report.brl file 3 of 3.
There's my report file. I don't have much in there right now, but I want to press J-Cord
File number
and space to jump to the next open file.
Doctor Who Eden Rebellion.txt. File 1 of 3.
And the title is Doctor Who Eden Rebellion.txt. My team members are probably cringing right now, saying, he did it again. He snuck a Doctor Who reference in Blazie stuff. But anyway, I have this file. So I could press J-Cord space to cycle between the open files. And I could also press J-Cord and .7 or the backspace key to jump to the previously open file if I want to do that. But what's cool is there's another cord that we recently added that allows me to jump between the last 2 open files. This is actually very relevant to the demo. So if I just press W cord, which is 2456 and the space.
Report.
Now I'm in the report file. If I press W cord again,
Doctor Who Eden Rebellion.
I'm in Doctor Who Eden Rebellion. So I can just jump back and forth between the last 2 open files with W cord.
Report.
Now, why is that relevant to this demo? Because the report is where I'm actually writing stuff, like my summary, my thoughts, pasting little snippets here and there. The book,
Doctor Who Eden Rebellion,
is the book I'm actually using as a reference. Okay, so now I'm in the actual book, and I'm going to review first basic editor commands. Now, this is not going to be anything new to veteran BT Speak users. But for folks who are new to the BT Speak, or of course BT Braille, or who don't have one yet, this will give you an idea of how to navigate. It's a very logical command structure. If I want to go to the very top of this book immediately, I can press dots 1, 2, 3 cord.
Top of file.
And it said top of file. If I want to go to the end of the document, I can press 4, 5, 6 cord.
End of file.
And I've immediately moved to the bottom of the file. I'm going to go back to the top.
Top of file.
And the way these navigation commands work is the mirror image that you do with your left hand does the opposite with your right. So what do I mean by that? Well, if I want to move to the next line, I can press the .4 key with the space bar. So I'll do that.
Begin reading.
It says begin reading. That's a disclaimer from Bookshare. And I'll press it again.
Blank.
Blank.
2 things were certain every Saturday. Growing up. Pancakes 4. Breakfast and hiding behind a pillow with you at 7 p.m. Thank you, Mom.
Okay, so that was a dedication. And I was pressing .4 chord to move from one line to the next. The opposite is .1 chord. So if I press that, that goes to the previous line.
Two things were certain every Saturday. Growing up, pancakes blank.
If I press, let me move back to that line.
Two things were certain every Saturday.
Okay, if I want to reread the line, I press both keys, dots 1 and 4 with the space bar.
Two things were certain every Saturday. Growing up, pancakes 4.
Now, dots 2 or dot 5 does this with words. So if I want to move to the next word, I press dot 5 chord.
Two things were certain.
Okay, if I want to move to the previous word, I press dot 2 chord.
Were things. Two.
There we go.
Two
Let me move to the word things.
things.
If I want to read the current word, I press both keys, dots 2 5 chord.
Things.
And it read the word things. If I press dot 2 5 chord a second time,
THINGS.
it spells the word. If I press dot 2 5 chord a third time, it spells it phonetically.
Tango, Hotel, India, November, Golf, Sierra.
So it read the phonetic equivalents of those letters. Dots 3 and 6 do the same thing for characters. So if I press dot 6 chord,
HIN.
I'm on the word things, NGS. And if I press dot 3 chord, I move back.
NI.
And if I'm on the letter I, if I press dots 3 6 chord, it reads the current character.
I.
And if I press it a second time, it reads the phonetic word for that letter.
India.
It said India because I'm on the letter I. If I were on the letter A, it would say alpha. You probably get the idea if you've been using a lot of these different screen readers and devices. Okay. I can also read continuously with dots 1, 2, 4, 5, 6 chord. That is, in contracted Braille, is an ER chord. You could remember that as everything read. So if I press it, it'll just keep reading until I press dots 7 and 8 together to stop it.
Two things were certain every Saturday. Growing up, pancakes 4. Breakfast and hiding behind a pillow with you at 7 p.m.
Okay, and I'll press dots 7 and 8, and it stopped it, and it put me on the last line that it read. I could also press a Z chord, which would stop reading. So that is basic navigation. I mentioned before that this document is divided up into headings, so I can press a dots 3 5 6 chord or low J to move from one heading to the next. And in this book, that means I move from one chapter to the next. So I'll do that now.
H2, 1.
I'm on chapter 1.
H2, 2.
Now I've moved to chapter 2. Now you heard it say H2. That's because it's a level 2 heading. And instead of saying heading level 2 or level 2 heading, we're just making the verbiage a little bit shorter.
H2, 3.
Because you might have a H1 for a level 1 heading or a level 3 heading, and you can change those as well if you want. If I want to move back to the prior heading, I can press dots 2 3 6 chord or low H chord.
H2, 2.
Chapter 2.
H2, 1.
And chapter 1. Now that we've got navigation out of the way, I can copy this, a snippet of this book, or even the entire one, into my book report. I'm just going to copy a couple of lines. I want to go to the beginning of chapter 2.
H2, 2.
So I press dots 3 5 6 chord for next heading. I'm now right at the title of chapter 2, and I want to just copy the first couple of lines to the clipboard.
Blank.
There's a blank line.
A short while later, Ruby stood at the TARDIS doors, brimming with the eager anticipation of a child on their way to Chessington for the first
Okay.
time. At her feet were
So
four smalls,
I
eager
wanna put
anticipation
a
of a child on
mark.
their. A short while later, Ruby stood at the
I'm going to put a mark at the top of this with M chord.
mark set.
Mark set. Okay. Now I'm going to move past the end of this sentence.
Eager anticipation of a child on their way to Chessington for the first
for the first
time.
time.
At her feet were T.
And I want to move
I,
past the word
M,
time.
E, dot.
There's the period in
Space.
time. And I'm going to just copy that snippet from the mark to where I am right now with Control C for copy.
Copied 147 characters.
So it told me how many characters were copied, and they are in the clipboard. It's important to note something. This book is not in contracted Braille. And I want you to know that, and there's a reason why I want you to know that. It is in what you would call computer Braille. So it's using just all the letters, no contractions, .46 for a period, .1456 for question mark, all of the computer Braille symbols. But I want to paste this into my book report, which is in contracted Braille.
Report.
And I pressed a W chord, which jumps to the last open file. So now I'm in my report. I'm going to go to the end of the
file
of the report, and I'm going to paste this with Control V into this report file.
Pasted 114 characters.
Okay. Now what's cool is that this is going to read normally, and the reason why is because the clipboard automatically translated this
end of file
into contracted Braille. So
eager anticipation of a short while later Ruby stood at the TARDIS doors, brimming with the eager anticipation of a child on their way to Chessington for the first time.
So it read it perfectly, but it converted it into grade 2 or contracted Braille because I'm in a file that's using the UEB table. Yes, I can already anticipate this question. Someone's going to want to know, do I have to use UEB? Can I use the old grade 2 code? The answer is yes, you can. I just happen to have UEB on right now. But just to show you,
eager anticipation of a child. Eager.
Go to the word eager and read this letter by letter. E-A-G.
E-R.
There's the ER sign. That was not in the original book. Okay, so the clipboard automatically looks at the file that you're in, and if you're in a contracted Braille file, it automatically translates that appropriately. If I copied contracted Braille text and went into a file that used computer Braille, the clipboard will automatically translate that appropriately as well. One other thing that I can do is I have a web page open with another review that I didn't write of the same book. I have it opened in Firefox, so I'm going to go into desktop mode.
Desktop mode.
And I should be in
over the past 6 decades.
Firefox.
With Avi Falace's novel selected.
And I'm in there. So
leaving main content.
So let's press H to go
Review,
to
Doctor Who,
the
Eden
heading.
Rebellion heading level 1.
And now I'm at the heading on this. This is a web page. And let me go to past these links.
Peter Nolan link.
Okay, so it's by Peter Nolan.
17/12/ main content.
The date it was
link.
on.
Link.
There's some
link.
unlabeled.
Eden Rebellion provides a distinctive slightly heading level 2. Directionless perspective. Doctor Who heading level 2. Idea heading level 2.
The beginning.
The Doctor and his
of this
companion
review.
land on
There
a
we
planet
go.
hoping for a relaxing vacation. Instead they find.
Okay, I want to copy this, so I'm going to highlight this text and
the Doctor and his companion land on a planet hoping for a relaxing themselves in the middle of a revolution. Their presence a catalyst to overthrow the old order. Selected.
Okay, so I've just highlighted 2 lines of text, and I'm going to press Control C to copy that.
Copied selection to clipboard.
And the text from the Firefox web page is copied to the clipboard. I'm going to go back into the file into what we call Blazie mode.
Blazie mode.
So the BT Speak and BT Braille have 2 modes. There's Blazie mode, which are all of our programs and our editor and our other apps and our easily navigable menus. And we also have a desktop mode where you can use programs like Firefox and Thunderbird for email and LibreOffice. It's a full desktop environment. So let me make sure I'm in my report.
Line 9, column 4, in report.brl.
And I obtained that information by pressing a WH chord.
End of file.
I'm going to move to the end of the file and paste this.
Pasted 148 characters.
And the text that I copied from Firefox, of course, was not in grade 2 Braille. That was standard computer Braille. But because, again, I pasted this into a report with grade 2 translation enabled, you will see that it reads the file really well.
Blank. Time.
So let's...
Eager anticipation of a child on their time. Blank. The doctor
that.
and his companion land on a planet hoping for a relaxing vacation. Instead, they find themselves in the middle of a revolution. Their presence a
There we go. So it pasted the file and automatically translated it according to my Braille table, which in this case is UEB. So these are just some of the really cool things that you can do on a BT Speak or a BT Braille, no computer required, and you can copy and paste stuff from not only one document to another that you create, but from a web page or an email or anything that you're reading in desktop mode into one of our files. Or you could write something in grade 2 Braille and put it in the body of an email and paste it, and it'll automatically translate into computer Braille. So that's my piece of the demo. I'm going to turn this over to Tim Noonan. He's our lead developer here at Blazie Technologies, and he's got some really cool back-to-school features that he will want to show you next. Tim, if you're ready, take it away, sir.
Thank you, David. Well, I'm part of the developer team. Simon is probably our lead developer technically, but we work together as a team to get all the software to the best possible shape we can get it in. So what I wanted to do is to imagine that I'm going back 40 years to when I was a student, and a book review I wrote back in the day was a book review on the book Day of the Jackal by Frederick Forsyth. Now, what I wanted to show you is how we can use ChatGPT or AI Chat, which is our Blazie side application to access ChatGPT within the editor to basically give me a structured outline for writing this book review. Because for me, historically, as quite a procrastinator as a student, always looking for things to put off the hard work of writing itself, it's always nice to start with an outline, and then you can write a few notes under each heading and you feel like you've got something achieved. But sometimes you still feel like, oh my goodness, this is just all a bit difficult. The deadline's nearing. I need to procrastinate a bit more. So I thought, what would I do as a student? I'd be thinking, well, I've got my Audible subscription because I'm spending all this time reading and no time writing. I have a two book per month plan. In American dollars, I think that's $22.95. But because I'm a student and really counting my cents, what I want to do is work out this week how much it costs me a week for my Audible subscription rather than how much it costs per month, because that's really relevant to this assignment and it's a perfect procrastination to put off the actual work. Telling you too much about my psychology, hopefully I've changed a bit, but I never really enjoyed writing assignments at school.
End of file.
So I'm at the end of a file here. And let's do this calculation. So we can go into the calculator with O chord and then C, and we can do the calculation there. And then we could go back to the editor and we could paste that calculation into the file. But we can also do the calculation in the editor file and then have the result placed in our file automatically. So I'm going to show you how that's done. So first of all, I'll type in the formula or the thing that I want to calculate. So this is, and I'm in a text file, 24.95
24.95
times 12
star 12
divided by 52. So what that's doing is just my monthly amount, which is 12 months a year. So I'm multiplying that by 12. And then I'm dividing by 52 because, as you know, there aren't 4 weeks in a month, there's 4 and a fraction weeks in a month. I once had flatmates who could not understand that. And when I said, well, rent is so much every 2 weeks, and they go, oh, good, well, I'll just double that per month. And we had a big fight over it. So I thought this was apropos. Anyway, so so that's the formula
24.95 star 12/52.
typed in. Now I'm going to go to the start of the line
2.
because the editor's just got this as text at the moment. Now I want to have the answer turn up in this file. So what I'm going to do is use the less than character, and I'll just
Less.
double check that that's correct, which it is.
2.
Now I'm on the 2, so I've got less than. I'll read this line before I send it off. CALCULATOR.
Less calculator.
So let me read this current line now.
Less calculator 24.95 star 12/52.
So I've got a less than sign, which means please put the answer back into this file, not into a new file. Then calculator, which is the actual command that we want to run. And then the formula that we want to be calculated. So I can now go into the editor menu.
Editor menu. Open.
And if I just move up with .1 chord through choices.
AI tools. I. Run host. Open welcome screen. W.
Okay.
Quick Braille note. B. Quick text. Quick Braille. Open welcome screen. W.
Yeah.
Run host. Run host command.
Here we go.
R.
Run host command. And I'm going to press enter on that.
5.75.
And now we know that it will be $5.75 a week for my Audible habit. So that's the first thing, and maybe a little sophisticated for some users just hearing it, but once you start playing with it, it's quite a useful tool, especially if you're maybe doing a budget and you want to keep a journal of the things that you're trying to calculate. You can have a running journal here with that. Next, what I'm going to do is have
Top of file.
AI Chat, or our mini program AI Ask, which also can be used under the name of Ask AI. And here I'm going to ask ChatGPT to generate a structured outline for this book review that I'm now getting to now that I've procrastinated, because I'm really stressed. The assignment's due very soon. And here's the line that I would type.
Greater AI Ask, I am writing a book review. Give me a simple heading layout for it.
So I pre-typed this in. The greater than says, please put this answer into a new file. And then AI Ask is the name of the program, and then the question. And I'm going to, in this time, do Control T, which is the quick way to run an external command, and we'll see what happens. Pause, it's working. Hopefully it's working, unless I've done something wrong.
And named 11.txt.
There
File
we
3
go.
of 13.
So we're now in a new file, unnamed 11.txt, and I'll read the current line.
Title of the book. Book title. Command.
Now I'm
AI
just going to
Ask, I am
go to
writing
the
a book
first
review.
line
Top
first of
file.
all, just because what we do is this program gives us the command that we issued so that we have it for reference.
Command. AI Ask, I am writing a book review. Give me a simple heading layout for it.
Okay, and now we can move down.
Title of the book. Book title. Author. Author's name. Publisher. Publisher name.
I'm just moving down with .4 chord
Publication date. Public number of pages. ISBN.
and so on.
blank.
But let's get to the actual body.
Star introduction star.
Now this is put markdown formatting here, which is not ideal. Sometimes AI Ask does, but in general, I've tried to have it so that it doesn't. But this is bold.
Brief introduction of the book and its author. Mention the genre and the main theme of the book. Blank. Star summary star.
So I could go in and I could say, please generate this with no markdown formatting, and that would be useful as well. Or I could ask her to put headings in so that I've got some heading structure to work with. But another thing that you can do as I wind up this brief demo is that you can also paste into a file the last conversation you had with AI Chat. So something I prepared earlier was a brief discussion with AI Chat about the book, Day of the Jackal. So I'm going to just go to a new text note.
Editor menu. Open. Quick text. Enter name. Default is Note
And let's
269.
call this conversation.
Conversation.txt. File 4 of 14.
Great.
2025.
So we're now in a new file called conversation. I'm going to go into the paste menu with P chord.
Paste menu. Open.
And if we go up,
ASCII code. AI chat session.
AI chat session. So we're going to paste in the last AI chat session. So let's do that. I'll hit enter.
Editing conversation.txt file 4 of 14 unsaved changes. Assessment. Top of file.
So I'm going to the top of the file.
Number 9:42 a.m. Wednesday, August 6th, 2025. Blank. Number AI chat session 2020. Blank. Number I am writing a book review. Give me a simple heading layout for it.
So here you, and this is marked up in heading so we can move down. So that's the first question.
Blank. Title of the book. Book title. Author. Author's name. Publisher. Publisher name.
What have I done? Have I done something wrong here?
Top number 9:42 a.m. Number AI chat blank. Number blank. Title of the book. Author. Published. Publication. Number of pages. Number of pages. ISBN. ISBN number.
Right. What have I done here?
At line 12, in conversation.txt, end of file blank. Optionally, include a rating out of 5 or 10.
All right. I apologize. I've realized something, that when you use AI Ask or Ask AI, what it actually does is it updates that session file of the last conversation. So that's something that when I was designing this feature, I hadn't thought about. So what we have here, in fact, is the last question we asked with AI Ask and not the actual conversation that I had with AI Chat earlier. So we will update the documentation if I can change that behavior, because I think it's important that you can have a long conversation. It is all still in the AI Chat history file, but unfortunately, it doesn't give me the summary of the book, and it doesn't give me the key points or the key strengths in the book that I might want to discuss. And it doesn't tell me a bit of a background on the author. But they were things that I originally had in that file. Just goes to show that no matter how much pre-testing you do for a demo, something can always turn up that educates you about some of the software you've been involved in. So today what we've covered is being able to insert a calculation and its result into the editor, being able to ask a question of ChatGPT from within the editor, have that answer go into your file or into a new file, and that if you have had a previous conversation with AI Chat, then you can paste that conversation into the current file or a new file. And if it's a grade 2 file, similar to what David explained earlier, it will automatically translate the ChatGPT responses into grade 2 Braille. So I'll hand back to David now, and thank you for listening.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tim. And I don't think I have anything else at this point to add. I guess if you have questions, please raise your hand with the Zoom commands, and we will get to you. Chris, Blazie is our official host for this meeting, and he'll let us know who's got a question, and we'll be glad to take them.
Yeah, thanks, David. Thanks, Tim. Thanks for everyone for your input. I'm going to try to answer in the order listed. So we'll start with Wenwei.
Hello, thank you so much for this demonstration. I had a question about pasting content from one Braille translation to another. I'm also wondering if the clipboard respects the font size and font type of the document that you're pasting into.
Oh, so I'll answer the first question. This is why I'm glad Tim's on the call, because I can give him all the hard questions. So I'll answer the first part of that, which is, yeah, the clipboard does paste based on what your translation table is. So in the demo that I was doing, I was using UEB, but if you're using EBAE or one of our other tables, it should respect that. Now, If you're using LibreOffice, which we have on the BT Speak and will have on BT Braille, there are different fonts, as you might know, and that should be respected. But I don't know how our editor handles pasting of different fonts. So, Tim, are you in a position to speak for that or speak to
Sure,
that?
no worries, David. So,
Thanks.
two things with the automatic clipboard braille translation. What happens is that whatever table is set at the point you make the copy or cut to the clipboard, the text is translated or back translated using that table. So if you were in UEB, then your text moves into UEB Braille. We keep both copies, the text and the Braille version. Or if you were copying from UEB, then it will correctly back translate it to text. It's not possible to change the table if you change your table midstream, then you will start to get things out of sync, because it's when the copy's made that we do the Braille translation, not at the point that you're pasting the text. There is a very detailed help file called Clipboard that I think it's called Clipboard, that covers all the nitty gritty and the nuances of the process, but in general, it should do what you expect. As regards fonts in the desktop that are LibreOffice and probably other applications support, the cut and paste facility that is in place at the moment is only plain text. So even if there are different fonts, it's the plain text that we're copying from the desktop and which we're pasting into the editor. The BT Speak editor is a textual editor. We are, as you know, providing some level and potentially over time an increasing level of Markdown support. Markdown doesn't support fonts per se, but it does support things like such as bold and underline. And when I did my demo and you heard the star star and some text and star star, that's actually a Markdown syntax for bolding of text. But the simple answer is no, fonts aren't carried across between the two sides of the BT Speak and the BT Braille.
Okay, thank you so much for the information.
Okay, so our next up is Ken.
Hi. I know one of you guys that followed me on Mastodon. I was just gonna ask, I FaceTimed a friend yesterday that had the BT Speak. I don't have a BT Speak, but I was interested because, I kept going back and forth between thinking about, if I were to get some sort of income, if I was to get some money coming in, I was thinking about either getting the BT Speak or similar speech-based product from another company, but I was thinking about I asked someone that I FaceTimed yesterday about the recording feature, and when they tested it, it didn't work. So that's a drawback for me if I were to get one of those. If I were to get the BT Speak,
So there is a voice recorder,
yeah.
and I know we occasionally had some glitches in the some of the earlier updates, but in general, we addressed those. So it's possible that your friend might have had an earlier update, and I think some of them may have had to do with maybe having the RH Voice TTS engine. Steve Clower, I don't know if you're right now on the call or if that's familiar to you, or if I just inadvertently made that up, but I seem to remember that. But in general, that should be working pretty well. So our voice recorder does work pretty reliably now, as far as I know, and we haven't heard of any issues. I would say if your friend is having some issues with it, ask him to call support so we can help him to troubleshoot that, because that should be working.
Okay,
And
well,
just
sorry. I heard I heard him using vocalizer, not RH voice. I heard him use vocalizer, but
It may have
like
something to do with whether RH Voice is installed, even if you're not using it. I know we have had issues with that in the past. So, but I can tell you that, Tim, I don't know if it sounded like you might have had some comments about that, but as far as I knew, the voice recorder was working pretty reliably now. But Tim, did you have any thoughts on that?
yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the variables for the quality of the voice recorder is the microphone volume. So the microphone volume could be at a level that's not very optimal. We recommend something like 70, 75% to get reasonably good results. The recording quality, is modest. It's not high fidelity, but very functional for capturing, someone's phone number or some notes. But the device is more focused on actual entry of content, and the recording is sort of a value add rather than the central feature of the BT Braille and the BT Speak.
all right, I'll go ahead and let my friend know. I don't know him in person, but I do. I've met him online, but
Yep. Well, just have him give us a call. We'll be glad to try to
yeah.
troubleshoot that. I'm sure we'll be able to get it working because it does work.
Thanks, Ken.
Yep, Ken,
Next
thank you so
up,
much.
we have I'm not sure who. It's iPhone 6.
Aha.
Uh,
Yes, this is Kathy Blackburn.
Hey, Kathy,
Hi, Kathy.
Hi. I know that the BT Speak doesn't have the Zoom app, but can you run app through the web? I mean, can you run Zoom through the web browser?
In theory, you should be able to. You're not the first person to ask about that, and I should really work on that. It should work. Do any of you
I
guys have experience with
I
that?
I did a very, very brief test and it looked like it would work. But
Yeah.
I believe it was from the web interface. So
Right.
yeah, I'm not sure how accessible it was.
Because I had one of the Android devices that no longer runs Zoom, and I'm not totally fond of doing Zoom on my iPhone, though right now I've got it connected to my Braille display, and it's actually more tolerable that way. But
Yeah, I haven't actually used Zoom. I think in general, the iPhone would give a more refined experience because the iPhone app has been designed for accessibility, and there's so many audio in and audio out options and so on. So we definitely need to do some testing before you're running away and deciding that's going to be a primary use. I'm just not sure that it will be an optimal experience.
thank you.
Okay, next up we have Austin.
Yeah, hi. Good to hear everyone. This is all exciting stuff. I was wondering if you were also going to make an upgraded version of the BT Speak based on the Pi 5 and the terabyte of internal storage and all that good stuff, or would it just be the BT Braille?
I'll take that one. At this time, we don't have any plans to do that. The big reasons being that the Pi 5 has a much bigger battery requirement, and that would make the BT Speak significantly larger. It also has cooling requirements that would, again, make it much larger. So at this point in time, that is not in the product roadmap. To say it will never be, I'm not going to make that statement.
Great.
Could
All right.
happen if there's enough requests.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it might be cool. All right, thank you. Good stuff.
Thank you.
Thanks, Austin. Good to talk to you again.
Next up, Elijah. Hey, met you at NFB. Thanks for coming in.
So first, I'm curious, like, okay, so I'm in a math class right now, and like I did some testing, and like when you open a Word document that has math equations in it, like it'll translate them into LaTeX, like surrounded by dollar signs, because that's what Markdown does. I'm wondering, like, if you could support Nimith with that, because like currently what happens when you translate them to Braille is like, or when you translate to a BRL file, what it does is it translates them to LaTeX, and then it just translates that and it constructs Braille. But maybe instead it's just like translate them into like Nimith or UEB math and let you choose which one you want, and then like be able to back translate that into LaTeX in Markdown so that you could translate it into Word and get like Word math equations back.
That's definitely something we can add to our list. It's a bit of a long list of things that we need to look into, but at the moment, as you've experienced, we're using pretty standard translation tools, and they're not really going to do that round world maths in and out. So it's something we certainly are looking into, better support of that of mathematical content. But it's one of many things that we're looking at. So it's not something likely to be happening in the very near future.
Okay, but I am glad at least it does like LaTeX, so I can at least read math. I mean, that's good that you have that.
Yeah, because we're running on Linux, and LaTeX is sort of an integral part of
Yeah, you use
the
Pandoc
Unix
to
Linux
convert the
environment.
documents, I'm guessing.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Then that makes perfect sense.
Next up is Wesley.
With the Markdown, when you braille in using the editor and then the Markdown comes out, does it support things like lists and linked text and things like that if you use Braille to then write those symbols?
I think the short answer is no, not really. The only explicit Markdown support that we have in Braille files, including US grade 2, is support of headings at this stage. We are obviously, I mean, blending Markdown and Braille is, other than in UEB, probably technically not supported in any official way, but we certainly are looking at ways that we can have better Markdown support generally, and maybe a pre-parser that would unmark down before translation. And we're looking at a few options of that sort. But at the moment, we do have, as you may be aware, in text files, if there are links, then they can be entered and jumped to. But in Braille, particularly if you're not using USB, things like parentheses, opening and closing parentheses next to opening and closing square brackets, just is very difficult to reliably forwarded back translate. So things tend to get very confused. In terms of lists, if you're just using an asterisk sign or a hyphen for the list markup, which is really all a list is in Markdown, then they'll be carried through to the Braille document or to the back translation. So you could back translate the document and then put it through a Markdown parser to get HTML or whatever. So a bit technical, but I hope that partially answers your question.
Yeah, I was just mostly just curious. I've had my machine for about a month now, and it's a pretty sweet little machine, even though I have a bunch of Apple products and stuff.
Yeah, look, we love Markdown and we're big proponents of it, particularly headings for navigation. But yeah, we would love to increase that support over time. It's just getting everything in. It's not so much the things that we want to do; it's working out the order we need to do them in for meeting priorities, and of course our focus on the BT Braille. But Markdown is something I've been using for 15, 20 years, and the more we can incorporate it, the happier I'll be.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Thanks, Wesley. Let's see, we just a few more, so I think we're gonna be okay on time wise. Leslie.
So following up to the first lady's question about font and editors, was wondering what kind of support do you have for mainstream software? For example, if I needed to type something that I needed for work and should be a Word document, would I use the editor or would I need to be using LibreOffice? And also, for example, if I received a Word document through email or an Excel document, how would that work?
So you really have, I guess, a couple of choices. As you say, you can directly use LibreOffice because that is very compatible with Microsoft Office. So I have successfully loaded Word documents into LibreOffice Writer and spreadsheets into LibreOffice Calc. So you can do that and you can save files in those formats. But the other thing you could do that we do support and we do allow for this is if you're writing an hour editor and you write in grade 2 or whatever Braille table you have set, EBAE or UEB or whatever you're using, you could then write your document in our editor, edit it to your heart's content with all the contractions that you want, and then you could convert that either into plain text or as a Word file. And then that Word file could optionally be opened in LibreOffice, or you could give it to someone who has Word.
Okay.
But I guess
yeah.
the point there is that you'd have to do your formatting in LibreOffice and the
Yes.
actual text preparation in the editor, because the editor itself doesn't support the rich formatting that LibreOffice does.
Gotcha. And how accessible is LibreOffice on the BT Speak? Does it work fairly well?
Yes, it is similar to, I don't know if you've used it on Windows with other Windows screen readers, but the experience is similar based on what we have seen. So yes, it is accessible.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks, Leslie. We have Devin up next.
I was just wondering if would there be like a better speaker on the BT Braille like 20 or 40 because that BT speaker isn't really the best.
Yeah,
I can answer that. The
yeah, you
BT
and I just
Braille is
talked
going to
about
have
that.
a much better speaker. The BT Braille 40 has a much nicer speaker. We're still looking at the speakers for the BT Braille 20 to see if we can find something bigger that will fit. The BT Braille 20 doesn't have a whole lot more space for a speaker than the BT Speak does. But we are going to try. But the
Okay.
40 has a much nicer speaker.
And can I ask like one more question?
Sure.
I was just wondering like is there any like trade-in programs like sometimes you have with some like if you wanted to buy like if you had like a BT Speak or if you wanted to buy a BT 40, is there like a trade-in program?
Yeah,
Yes, there is.
yep.
That's a really good question. We have we will give you $550 for your BT Speak toward the BT Braille. Either one.
Okay. Okay. And it's just the BT Speak, you don't have to send anything else back?
That's correct.
Okay. Okay, well, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Devin.
you.
Okay.
Brandon?
when it comes to the podcast app, will there be a streaming support, in case you want to stream the episode and not have to download it, to save on storage space? Because I know other clients support that feature.
It's definitely something on our wish list. We haven't been focusing on the podcast app for the last little while because we're really intently working to make the BT Braille work super well. But yes, it's definitely on the request list. And assuming that the packages that we're using underneath to serve the podcasts support streaming, it's something we are planning to implement. But it does depend on the underlying systems, because in order to get the podcasts under Linux, we're using low-level tools, and it will depend on their capabilities. But definitely, it's our hope to have streaming in a future update to the podcast app.
And as far as the email list is concerned, will it still be the BT Speak list, or will it change to the Blazie list or something?
We don't know. We have not really determined that yet.
Also, will we be able to see stuff from the early adopters point, like any announcements of, when things are going to be shipping? And
yeah, we'll make sure we put that on the support forum. The current Blazie list, all of that we'll make sure that goes out on there. Mm-hmm.
I would just mention, Brandon, that the main concern would be just to make sure that we're not flooding one list with too much information. So if it gets too busy, then we'll split it. But hopefully we won't have to do that.
Yeah. When we had one list during the Blazie engineering days, we had one list for both Braille Lights, Braille Blazer, Disk Drive, Braille and Speaks, and we supported all of those on one list, and we did not have, I don't recall that the list traffic being overloaded, so I don't see that being an issue with this. It's possible that we might have a separate list for early adopters, but again, that has not yet been determined.
So we've got one, maybe two more here. Let's go with Charlene. I don't think we've heard from you tonight. Go ahead with your question, Charlene.
I had a couple questions. What's the approximate weight of the BT Braille 40?
I don't know if we have final dimensions for the BT Braille 40
It's
yet.
approximate,
That's a great question.
Also, Milton was wondering what the translator is that you use for the Braille.
Yep, we're using LibLouis.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
No worries.
Got one more here. Wesley, you came back in. Go ahead and unmute.
I talked to Ben about this on Friday, but hadn't heard back. My YouTube streaming isn't working, and I'm kind of wondering if there's a way to just reset the unit to the way it was when I first got it to try and fix it, or what I can do with that. And I'm also wondering, because Ben wasn't sure, on the desktop side, I'm getting a prompt to change to something called Aqua, and I'm not sure if I should do that or not.
This is Tim here.
I'll let
and
David,
I don't have,
go ahead, Tim.
Tim here. I don't have an exact answer for you, but there are a variety of options that you need to look at with care in the reset menu, and one of those is to reset the desktop settings or to reset Orca settings. There's two options. To find reset, I think it's options, BT Speak management, and possibly under advanced, and then you'll see reset as an option in that menu. So that would be the first approach. Rather than resetting the whole device, that will just refresh the desktop side. And then when you next run YouTube on the Blazie side, it may well ask you to re-authenticate with Google. I'm guessing here that that's what will happen. And that hopefully will refresh things for you. But I'm sure Ben will get back to you, and he may talk with Stephen Blazie, who wrote the YouTube application, and he may be able to give you more precise information on that. We also do know there's a slight glitch sometimes when you first run the YouTube program and authenticate. The first time it says I need to update YouTube, and then it reloads, and then operation normally is pretty good.
Yeah, and Ben may have been checking in with Steven, and Steven's actually on vacation at the moment. So
Oh, cool. Yeah. Yeah.
that could be the issue. But there, as Tim said, I mean, there are some things you could do, and I don't want to see you have to wipe everything off of the device when we can probably find a way of making that work.
All right.
So give us a call tomorrow. I don't know if you have a YouTube log that was able to be sent. Sometimes they're saved and sometimes they're not. But if you go to, I think, same menu that Tim referenced, manage options, BT Speak Management Advanced, I think under there you'll find few logs, and one of them, if you're lucky, is a YouTube log. And if you find that, send that to us, and we can help you with that by phone if you call us tomorrow, or email us at support@blazie.net.
And then the Aqua thing on the desktop side, should I tell that not to switch, or?
I would have to research that before I give you a yay or nay on that, unless Tim
Okay.
or Steve Clower, if you guys have any specific info.
No, I've never encountered this, and that's why it feels to me like resetting the desktop to our defaults might be valuable if you
Okay.
don't have a lot of customization in your desktop already.
Nah, the only thing I use my desktop for is because I'm not an Orca user. I just use it to play Sirius XM and to do some other stuff on the web. So
I think resetting the desktop wouldn't be bad, since since you're not a frequent desktop mode user.
yep.
So I agree with Tim on that, and
All right.
so try that and let us know. Again, either call us or just email us at support@blazie.net.
Yeah. Can do. Thanks a lot,
Wesley.
guys.
And before we head out, I do want to remind people, because we've mentioned the list. You've heard people talk about the list and the group, and it occurred to me we didn't really give any information about how to subscribe or join. So it's we call it our support forum, but it's really a support and Q&A list for users who have BT Speak, and eventually probably BT Braille will be filtering in on that as well. But for the moment, because we haven't shipped BT Braille yet, it's pretty much all BT Speak related, with some BT Braille questions from potential users. So we do have that list available for anyone who would like to join. Even if you're not a BT Speak user, if you just want to lurk and see what are these BT Speak users saying about BT Speak, and you can find out what questions they're asking. Blazie staff, we monitor that list all the time. We're always jumping in and answering questions where we can. And anyone is free to join that. You're going to find people of a variety of skill levels. You've got some folks that just use it for very basic tasks, and some for intermediate, and you've got some real advanced users as well. So there's a good variety of users. And to join the list, you send an email to btspeak, all one word, BTSPEAK plus, and that's the plus sign on your keyboard, subscribe at groups.io. So that's btspeak plus subscribe at groups.io, and we'll approve you. You can jump on the list, and as I say, you can just lurk if you want to see what people are saying, or jump in the conversation and ask questions of your own. If you already have a BT Speak and you have the answers to questions, feel free to chime in. That's why we have it. Well, again, this is David. I guess we'll sign off. I want to thank everybody for staying with us for this extended time. It's almost 25 after the hour. And thanks for listening in on the demo. We really appreciated your questions. If you need to email us privately off list, if you have a support question, you can email support@blazie.net, BLAZIE. If you just have general sales/info questions, even if you're not a user, you can email us at info@blazie.net. Those go to several people on the team, so I might answer some of them. Ben Blatchford, our support rep, might answer some of them. Some of them, Brian or we'll get them. So there's a bunch of us who monitor that. And our website is blazietech.com, BLAZIETECH.com. And our phone number is 772-214-1616 for both sales and support questions. So, hey everyone, thank you for joining us. We will see you on our next webinar. We're going to do this the first Tuesday of every month. So we'll see you the first Tuesday in September. So have a good time. And for those going back to school, bring your BT Speak to class and do those book reports. Probably not on the book I was doing a book report on, though. I should be so lucky. All right, take care, guys. Good night, everyone.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this.